This is Alan Weinkrantz with the Rackspace Startups Program. I am actually in an embassy. Now, this looks like a typical, startup accelerator anywhere in the world, but I am here with Ambassador Caspar Veldkamp, and you are the ambassador of the Netherlands to Greece, and we're here in Athens. Thank you for joining us today. This is really amazing. There's going to be a pitch night tonight here at what's called the Orange Grove. Tell us a little bit of background about what you're doing.
Well, basically the idea behind this, why we initiated this accelerator for startups here in Athens, is that we wanted to look at the Greek economy in a different way. And we wanted to initiate something, to provide a spark to the Greek economy. But when you read the financial and economic newspapers these days, you read a lot about IMF statements, central bank policies, Eurozone, group of finance ministers, bank recapitalization, all that kind of stuff. That's very important in an economy in crisis such as in Greece. But it's all about the macroeconomic damage control of economic crisis. When you look at the best way to pull a country out of economic crisis and to make it recover, you also have to give a lot of attention to the microeconomic level. And then it's about entrepreneurship, innovation, commercialization. And then it's about this. Then it's about the guys and girls here.
Yeah, I met the team over there. They're connecting bands to bring bands all over Europe, and it was really created out of necessity. And I've met some. I'll tell you my biggest. I was also in Patras,
yeah,
where Corallia's over there. It's amazing all the things that are going on in this country. And the other is, much like where I live in Israel, there's a lot of rich heritage. And every time, now that I've been here, I keep thinking there's some serious, deep thinking. And I think that young people, like I'm meeting these entrepreneurs, they could be the same entrepreneurs I meet in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, Jerusalem, and even, Rackspace now has a big office in Amsterdam. We opened an office in Amsterdam. Amsterdam is certainly one of the great European capitals now of entrepreneurship. And so
Israel is, of course, a startup nation.
Sure.
And also in a country like the Netherlands, where you're doing better and better in startups. What is very interesting to see is that also in the countries with a rather corporate background, such as the Netherlands, with big multinational companies, we have discovered last year that 60% of newly created jobs were created by companies less than 5 years old, so startups, which was very interesting for our policymakers to see. We also see that the CEOs of big companies, such as Philips Electronics, Frans van Houten, who went to Israel several times in the past years, he tells our government and our policymakers, look, we need startups, we need startup ecosystems, because startups generate ideas and creativity that we as a large multinational do not automatically generate. Startup ecosystems are needed also for the big firms. Now, what you see here in Greece is, of course, that the ecosystem is still very young. It's not embryonic anymore, it's a bit more advanced than that, but it's still very young, and there are still some things lacking compared to, for example, Tel Aviv. The availability of venture capital, the number of angel investors. Of course, these things are much more limited here, but the talent and the young talent is here. There are plenty of creative ideas. And what we wanted to do with Greece in the economic crisis is to show we can use that talent, we can build on that. The Netherlands is known as one of the tougher countries in the Eurozone regarding the Eurozone crisis, together with Germany and Finland. But through an initiative like this, we also show that we have confidence in the economic recovery of Greece, in the future of the Greek economy. We believe for Greece to recover, we should not only look at the demand side and wait for domestic consumption to pick up. We have to look also at the supply side. We have to look at new generations and new ideas, and that is what we're trying to help. Give the kind of push with an initiative like this.
I also look at distance. It's a 2-hour flight to Tel Aviv. It's 2 hours to Amsterdam. It's an hour and a half to Paris. A couple hours to London.
And that's exactly what we are trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Is to try to connect this ecosystem in Athens more and more to more advanced ecosystem. This is an interesting ecosystem. There are interesting people here with interesting initiatives, but we want to link it also to places like Tel Aviv or Amsterdam and many other places where you see that the ecosystem is a bit more advanced. And so we can learn from each other. It's very interesting.
Now, we're actually in the basement on the ground floor of an embassy.
We're in the ground floor of the embassy. This ground floor opened up, this space opened up. My predecessor took the initiative of initiating this startup incubator here because he believed that was the right step. And I see it's a great success. For example, we had my economic affairs minister here lately, and he invited a Greek minister for research and innovation here. And the Greek minister had planned to be here for like an hour. So he stayed for hours talking to the startups, listening to the startups, because the startups show that there's room for improvement in Greece in the terms of ease of doing business, in terms of adapting fiscal legislation, etc. There's still a lot of room for improvement in Greece, but they are much more convincing. The startups are much more convincing in explaining that to the Greek authorities than I will ever be. And that is also what is very important.
Okay, and also Heineken is, I mean, this you would not normally see at an embassy. So this is really the first, no, it's wonderful.
We Dutch are always a little bit crazy.
No, this is wonderful.
They want to stay on the edge.
Yeah,
and
no, it's great.
Also, this startup accelerator keeps us young also as an embassy. Yes,
sure.
We have an office upstairs, which is an open space office, by the way, which is also quite unique for an embassy, especially here in Greece, which is sometimes still a rather formal country with hierarchy and so on. To show also to the Greek public that we need something new is very important. We show to the Greek government that they also have to look at the microeconomic level and the importance of the private sector entrepreneurship. We also show to the Greek private sector that they have to update their business models, that they have to move out of their comfort zones and see the new phenomena of startups and work with that to advance.
And you spent time in Israel as well?
I was for a bit over 4 years, until last October, the Dutch ambassador to Tel Aviv. And I believe I've also been recruited to come here because in Tel Aviv, of course, and in Israel as a whole, I worked a lot also with innovation, high-tech startups, be it in Tel Aviv or in Jerusalem, in Beersheba,
where the cyber,
There's so much to learn, and I'm very glad that there are several people from Israel coming here also to see what happens here, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, Yossi Vardi was just here. Enon Landenberg was just here.
Exactly.
So I know. Yes, he was just here.
Have been here.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to do here also, because many Greeks still believe that this is just a flexible working space, period. We try to make clear, look, we also build networks here. We also provide a network of mentors. We also have a pitching event like the Squeeze tonight.
Right, tonight,
with prize winners win 15,000 or 10,000 euros as seed money. You can imagine if you take the Greek crisis in your mind, for young Greeks starting a company, that is quite a recognition, and it's quite substantial in terms of money. It's interesting. We try to link this startup ecosystem, which is interesting, which is developing itself, also to the more advanced ones. And of course, the startup ecosystems in Israel are definitely part of that.
Thank you so much. This is so interesting. What a great initiative, and thank you for having me today. This is Alan Weinkrantz signing off with Ambassador Caspar Veldkamp from the Netherlands. Thank you.